Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon once again. Most welcome you to this insightful webinar that has been hosted by the NBA Women Forum Membership Committee. You're most welcome once again. I am Rahila Dauda, your moderator for today's webinar. I have a co-moderator by the name of Somtochukwu Maduagu. Together, we'll be moderating the webinar. You're most welcome. Quickly, before we start, I will call on the head of the membership committee of the Nigerian Association Women's Forum, the person of Ms. Uguchi Agala, for the opening and welcome remarks. Ms. Uguchi, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Rahim. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be coming on board this webinar series, the first of our series running from now
There's an echo. There's an echo. I think you have more than one device on. Please check it.
Hello, is there still an echo?
It's okay now. It's okay now.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here welcoming you all on board this webinar today. I would like to say good afternoon to my lords here present. Good afternoon to Leonard Six here present. Thank you for coming. Thank you to all our speakers. Good afternoon to my senior colleagues and my colleagues. And to our chairperson, Mrs. Chinyere Okorocha, good afternoon. I especially thank you for this opportunity, and let me use this opportunity to welcome you for your opening remarks.
Have you finished your own remarks? I thought you were doing your own remarks first. Just to tell us a bit about the program. So please finish and then I'll come on, okay?
All right then. Okay, so this program promises to be very, very impactful, particularly for our new weeds and very young professionals who may be thinking of how to carve a niche in the profession, how to move on ahead in a profession that seems to be overflooded with so many qualified persons. Now, it's the vision of the Women's Forum to empower female lawyers so that we're not secluded, or we don't have to remain as ordinary lawyers. It's our expectation that at the end of this webinar, we would having heard from my Lord Justice Chinwe Nsirim and our prof, the first female prof for the River State University, and of course, our learned senior, Mrs. Bolatun Animashan, we would have learned how to do better and how to stand out in the profession. So please listen and enjoy the rest of the program. So I call on our chairperson now, Mrs. Chinyere Okorocha, for her opening remarks. Thank you.
Good afternoon, distinguished members of the bar. And thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for what promises to be a really interesting discussion about our careers as female lawyers. I'm particularly delighted today because the topic that has been chosen, which is building a successful legal career, is one of the things I am so passionate about as a female lawyer. I personally feel that law is one of those professions that makes you feel like the rules that apply to corporate entities don't apply to us. You know, when we're in school, the legal profession is a very proud one. It's like everybody else, you know, and then lawyers are on another level or on another plane. You understand? So we're very proud. It's law and then everybody else. And so sometimes because of the nature of our training, we don't imbibe certain principles that you see other corporate entities do. And so I'm very passionate about the career of female lawyers, imbibing those principles that help you rise up the career ladder, imbibing the commercial type advice in terms of building your career, promotion, growth, empowering yourself by training, you understand, and also seeking elevation and positioning yourself in any given career that you've chosen, even in law. So I'm hoping that today we're going to hear from very, very established female lawyers who have scaled the career ladder, who are doing exceptionally well in their different spheres of influence. One of the things we try and do in the Women Forum is that we focus on 5 main areas of legal practice. So it's either you're at the bar, you're bench, you're in academia, you're in the public sector, or you're an in-house counsel as a female lawyer. And these are 5 areas that we can see female lawyers can thrive and build, you know, impressive careers. Everybody mustn't go to court. I don't go to court, you know, but you can't tell me I'm not a lawyer. A lecturer, you know, in the university, or a dean or whatever, you can't say they're not a female lawyer. If you're an in-house counsel, you definitely are a female lawyer, as well as, you know, being a judge or indeed in the public sector. So we like to highlight these various areas of the law, even when we are planning our programs as MBA Women Forum. And indeed, some of these areas of the law actually have their own specific committees in the Women Forum. I'd also like to understand, I believe that a lot of our new weeks are on this webinar today. And I just want to encourage you, even as you've chosen to be lawyers and you're recently called to the Nigerian bar, that law is a wonderful profession to be in. I think that the exposure we get in the universities, you know, lends you to being able to adapt to any given career you may choose to make of it, because not everybody is going to remain inside the legal profession, properly so called, but there are new frontiers in the legal profession. You know, the ancillary, what will I call it, careers that have begun to evolve, even by virtue of the fact that the world is a global village. So you can see tech lawyers, you know, they're focusing on that area of the law. You can see those who deal with legal writing, or, you know, creating apps that we as lawyers will use in our chambers. You see those who are adapting to consultancy just as lawyers, you know. So I just feel that there's so much that is happening in the legal profession, and that we in the Women's Forum, we want you to be well aware of these different opportunities that can arise even in the legal profession. Now, I cannot help but mention a little bit about the structure of the Women's Forum. Every opportunity I get, I try to make it known that we are a constitutionally set up arm of the MBA, which was re-inaugurated in 2019 after a long hiatus, which happened between 2006 and 2014. So in 2019, we got re-inaugurated, and under the current dispensation, we have been in the management of the firm for the last 2 years. I must mention that our mandate is basically to empower the female lawyer for success. And this we do through training programs like the one we're having today, through networking amongst ourselves, lending our voice to international issues that affect the female lawyer, looking at our well-being to ensure that we take care of ourselves, work-life balance, because a lot of female lawyers sometimes have to leave their careers and pursue their personal life to the fullest, let's say, because they find it difficult to juggle between their personal and professional life. So we teach little tools here and there that you can use and thrive, both as a female professional and as a wife and a mother. We also want to keep abreast of international best practices. So you will see us associating with foreign other sister bodies through our External Relations Committee. And this is particularly different from the mandate of, say, the FIDA. I often have people asking me, are we FIDA? You know, are we different from FIDA? And I always like to explain that whilst we are all female lawyer associations, that the mandate of the NBA Women Forum is totally different from that of FIDA, and we are not in competition in any way, in any way or manner. The mandate of the Women Forum is to cater to ourselves and to ensure that we are doing well and thriving in our careers. I have been reliably informed that the mandate of the federation known as FIDA, which is extremely strong in Nigeria, is to cater to the rights and needs of disadvantaged women and children. And indeed, in 2019, when we were re-inaugurated, we were very careful to choose a terms of reference and a focus that would not encroach on an existing area that is already being catered to. And that is how come, in conjunction with the wording of the Constitution of the NBA, which established the forum, we came up with our terms of reference, which caters to the Nigerian female lawyers' needs. And so we collaborate with the FIDA Nigeria at every opportunity we can have. I have been to their events many times. They invite me. We also invite them to our events on a regular basis because we believe that the world is big enough, Nigeria is big enough. You know, when all of us focus on a certain area of advancement for female lawyers, and indeed for women in their careers, you know, magic happens. We have members of our association who are conch members of staunch members of FIDA, and vice versa. And there is no competition and there is no problem with that. So having laid this foundation, I'm wishing us very, very effective discussions today. I'm hoping that at the end of our discussions today, we will all go away with 1 or 2 tips that we will use to thrive in our careers. I am very much looking forward to learning a thing or two from our distinguished speakers. Please sit back, put in your earphones if you're in a public place or if you're in a shared office with other people. Please put in your earphones so you can take the full advantage of everything that will be taught here today. I'd like to commend the members of the membership committee who have done exceptionally well this year in particular in trying to push and drive the mandate of the Women Forum. Ugochi Agala, who is the head of that committee, well done to you and your entire executive committee and management team for always looking for opportunities that will increase our membership. If perchance you're not a member of the forum, but you're joining this webinar today, I want to encourage you to join us. We don't ask for much money. It's not about the money for us. It's about the things you can learn whilst being a member of the forum. It's about the exposure and access you have to leading women who can become mentors to you in the future, who can help you to climb that corporate ladder as you would like to. So once again, I welcome you all to today's webinar, to today's discussion. And please participate, ask your questions, whether it is in the text box or whether it is in the, you know, if the moderator allows you to unmute and you actually ask your question physically. Please don't just be a silent member. I can see that someone has put up our website. If you click on the link, it will take you directly to our registration page where you can become a full-fledged member of the forum. It's 5,000 if you're 6 years and above, and it's absolutely free to anybody who is 0 to 5 years at the bar. So the threshold is very, very affordable, and you will be welcome. Once again, thank you. Just one more thing. Please plan and attend the MBA conference this year. The MBA Annual General Conference is holding in Lagos. If you remember, we'll be having our AGM as a section or fora of the MBA on the 28th of July, 28th, sorry, of August. We're going to have a really, really big AGM and a small ceremony thereafter where we'll recognize the key contributions of some of our leaders. We'll give out some awards, and we hope to welcome you there. So once again, everybody, thank you and have a pleasant program. Back to you, Ugochi.
Rahila, can you continue with your moderation, please? Thank you so much, Madam.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairperson, for that robust remarks. I must say I'm also a beneficiary of the goodwill of the MBA Women's Forum. It has empowered me so much for the time I joined the forum in 2020 up to date. I mean, it has been a wonderful experience. So come on, let's come on board. So moving on quickly, I will be introducing our first speaker. I will just read out her bio quickly before I hand over to Somto to read the rest. We have Honorable Justice Chinwe A. Nsirim from the Rivers State Judiciary. You're most welcome, my lord. Honorable Justice Chinwe Nsirim graduated in the year 2007 from Madonna University, Okija. She was also called to the bar in the year 2008. My lord obtained her LLM in Petroleum Law and Policy from the University of Dundee, Scotland, UK in 2012. She was employed in the Rivers State Judiciary as a staff in 2012 and also appointed as a magistrate, as a chief magistrate in 2019. She's currently a judge of the High Court of Rivers State. She was appointed in 2021. Please let's make welcome Honorable Justice Chinwe A. Nsirim. You're most welcome, my lord. We'll hand over to Somto to read the bio and introduce the rest of the speakers. Somto, over to you.
Thank you very much, Rahila. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies. Good afternoon, my lord. Good afternoon, to all the distinguished speakers that are joining us. I'll just go ahead and introduce Professor Grace Akoloku, who is joining us this afternoon. Grace Akoloku is a professor of law with specialization in property law and human rights. Notably, she is the first female professor of law at Rivers State University. She is a trained teacher with a degree in education and history from the University of Port Harcourt. She obtained her LLB degree in 1999, her BL in 2001, and a master's degree in 2006. She obtained a PhD degree in human rights law from the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Anambra State. She sits on the board of the RSU Microfinance Bank Limited as a member and secretary. Her research interests are in property law, child's rights law, trust law, and mortgages. She is a social welfare crusader with strong Christian virtues. She strives to give back to society through various intervention schemes involving children and women, especially widows. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor. I'll then be introducing our third speaker, Mrs. Bolatumi Animation. She is the principal partner, Bolatumi Animation & Co. She attended the University of Lagos, Akoka, where she obtained her bachelor's degree in English and Education. She then furthered her education at the University of Lagos, earning a master's in public administration and subsequently a Bachelor of Laws. She was called to the Nigerian bar in 2007. Her legal practice spans various areas, including family law, business law, and general law practice. Mrs. Bolatumi has been a certified mediator by CEDR UK since 2011. She also holds a certification in Online Dispute Resolution, ODR Europe. She is a valued mediator at the Lagos State Multi-Door Courthouse. She was the vice chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Lagos from 2017 to 2019, and she is currently vying for the position of second vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association. Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am. And Rahila, I'll go back to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Somto, for that introduction. Once again, you're most welcome, our distinguished speakers. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. And all participants present, we welcome you. So quickly, we'll delve into the conversation this afternoon. And as you can see, we have a rich array of speakers here. So we are here to learn and unlearn. We'll start with my Lord, Honorable Justice Chinwe Nsirim. What advice do you have for young lawyers? You know, how can we be able to gain practical experience through internships, clerkships, or volunteer work? I mean, you're a seasoned practitioner and a lawyer before joining the bench. So what can you tell us, especially to young lawyers between the ages of 0 to 5 years? Over to you, my Lord.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible enough. Good
Yes, ma'am.
afternoon.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon to the chief host, Mrs. Chinyere Okorocha, our pioneer head and host, Ugochi Agala. Thank you for the invitation. My fellow co-speakers, Professor Grace Akoloku and Mrs. Bolatumi Animashon, you're welcome and thank you for doing this journey with me. I cannot particularly answer the question without delving into the topic that we're here to discuss. Let me observe the already established protocol. I would begin, by thanking the host for inviting me to this platform to speak on. It's a very important topic. It is apt and is considerable, especially the times we're in, which is a time filled with a lot of challenges of different categories. Firstly, for you to build a successful career, you must ask yourself, indeed, do you want a career? When you have answered that question, then you can proceed to discover if you want it to be successful. Now, a successful legal career is a term that has a robust combination of things and factors with the implication of an individual succeeding in the legal profession. Now, I once read an article online by a publisher named Colin Shaw, and in his article, he stated the following: taking control of your career path can lead to amazing growth and opportunities. I'll come back to speaking on their life experiences and instances for a better appreciation and the purpose of demonstration. If it's okay, moderator, can I proceed with that?
Yes, ma, you can.
Somto, Rahila.
Yes, my Lord.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So for me, after passing the stage of discovering my gift, that is to study law, I had to set the race to run for it. I worked at my own pace, and I was an above average student, even if I aimed for super excellence of being a first-class student. But it didn't deter me from doing anything. From the word go, I had a focus which was to succeed. Of course, I had obstacles in my way, just like every other person, but those obstacles spurred me to even do more and go further. Now, at the university level, I had started appreciating the courses that I did better with, which are law of contract, oil and gas law. I enjoyed those subjects a lot. At the Nigerian school, I enjoyed civil procedure and legal drafting subjects. Now, this is me identifying the areas where I have strength, which made me now further my education to taking a master's degree in petroleum law and policy. Now, law and policy are even two different heads, but are closely intertwined, we know. So at the end, notice the range of course I enjoyed. The the focal point for research, I discovered that I love research. So these discoveries started teaching me how to pay attention to the littlest or minimal, minute things. I was paying attention to detail, and that's how it has helped me to this point. Now, during this time, I concluded I knew that I wanted to remain in the legal environment. Now, the next target for me was to decipher if I was good at litigation or if I wanted to be in an institution where the norms and framework now seeks to adhere to fairness, efficiency in daily living. Then I said to myself,
Please, can you unmute the speaker? Okay, thank you so much. Since we have lost hello, am I being heard?
okay, I'm back. I think I lost the network
Yes,
for
we
it.
lost you at some point. You're welcome, my lord.
Yes, my network is. Thank you. Thank you. So let me proceed. I said at that point, I said I wanted to do justice. Can you all hear me, please, so that I can proceed?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So I said I was going to do justice at all times. Then I started to grow my career. My profile was read as the Rivers State Judiciary for a number of 8 years before my appointment as a chief magistrate. And there's no denial that you must stay true to the word and cause by focusing on the level of success you want to attain and achieve. And then I can't expound on all the situations and everything I went through. I went through challenges because for every growth, you must encounter challenges. But one thing for sure was I focused on everything and I tried to do things differently. I served, I worked, and I made no excuses. I'll come to the issue of excuses if there's time for that. But the main thing was at the end, I made sure and for this profession of ours, you can never go unnoticed with what I have learned over time. As a matter of fact, character is key. It is of vital importance in this legal profession. So I climbed the ropes, I struggled. There were times I would want to give up, but I strived, and then boom, I was appointed as a judge of the High Court of Rivers State at the age of 35. So presently, I think I'm the youngest in this jurisdiction, although I hear there are 2 newly appointed judges in other jurisdictions that have beat my record. We have one of 33 years, another one of 34 right now, but of course I'm above 35 now, having been appointed 3 years ago. So the lesson here for me is that age is not even a barrier or a deterrence to your success or whatever it is you want to achieve. Now, the excuse I was going to mention is the excuse of attending to family needs. I am married and I have been blessed by God with children. My children are young. And so you can imagine the task of sitting as a high court judge with the enormous responsibility that comes with it, and then monitoring a young family. I set my priorities and I tried to balance these worlds, which helped me achieve a successful legal career. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I believe I'm still growing, because I won't tell you that I'm comfortable and satisfied, but we must all keep pushing. Don't allow yourself to be hindered by chance. There's more to tell, but let me come back to the team at hand, and then I would give you a few points from what I have summarized here. Now, the strategies to my mind are the following. Number 1, defining your impression of a successful legal career. Now, you have to note the area you're good at. Like I said from the beginning, I identified the subjects I loved, and what I took out from it from the beginning was that I like to do research. Some people like to read, some people like to dissect and understand other things. My own area was doing a lot of research and writing. The next will be to prioritize and set your goals. Tell yourself this is what you aim to achieve, and ensure you do not restrict yourself to the course of learning. For me, I like to explore. When you give me something, I want to explore everything out of it. Let me flip it through, turn it over, peruse, examine, scrutinize, and then, okay, let me see what I can do with it. That's the exploration I'm talking about. Then the third one will be, you have to make decisions, both comfortable and uncomfortable ones. That is, you have to be committed to those decisions you have made. Yeah, of course, for there to be decisions means that it will not be satisfactory, so to speak, or something that you would lie down and do. You must pinch yourself, you must toss yourself around, you must sacrifice something for a desired result. When you make a mistake, do not hesitate to come back to your plan and redirect yourself. Then the fourth one for me, remember there are no excuses. I have met judicial officers, I've met lawyers, legal personnel with disabilities, yet they deliver excellently well on the job. Now, my question to you, what is your excuse? The fifth one for me, plan and take actions, make early plans. I have my schedule already for 2025. I plan ahead of time so that I'm not caught up with circumstances. And even when I am, it's easy for me to adjust because I started planning about a year before. When you make those plans, stick with your plan and make sure you work with it. Then the sixth nugget I have is, for a career such as the legal profession, you must read. Let no one tell you otherwise. You must research. Improve yourself by attending conferences, workshops, like the first speaker stated. Be open to learning. You must have a network. Create a network within and outside your legal environment. Every day is a learning for me. When I meet people from all walks of life, I do not take our meeting because I just want to remember your name. I want to take out everything I can take out from you, what you do in your workspace, everything you do in your own environment, and I merge it. And sometimes I apply it in my job as a judge. Then the seventh one I have is, I reflect on my achievement. So it's always good to reflect on what you have achieved thus far. It helps you strengthen your mind, and re-strategize your goals. When you have, oh, this is where I'm coming from, this is what I've achieved in no time, it would aid you to answer things like, have I reached my desired goal or my destination? It will also give you that feeling of almost completeness. Okay, yes, I have crossed through this one. I remember when I used to be like this or do like that. I want to spur for more. I want to do better. So that is why I take time to reflect on my achievements. And then the 8th one I put is, above all, let God be your strength. So with these few words, I don't know whether it's all encompassing to the question I've been asked and whether I've been able to answer in a nutshell. Thank you, Rahila. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, my Lord. In fact, this is much beyond what we even, expected. Thank you so much for this robust answer and response. I mean, going through what you said is very important to make a decision. It is very key. And, planning cannot be overemphasized. Thank you so much, my Lord. We're most grateful. Thank you. So moving on, we're going on to the next speaker, Professor Grace Akoloku. Can you hear me, ma'am? Hello? Hello, Prof. Okay, let me go into
Hello.
Okay, hello, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I can hear you.
Yes. You're welcome, ma'am. So I'm throwing
Thank
the
you
same
very much.
yes. So I'm throwing the same questions that I did to the first speaker. What is your advice to young lawyers on gaining practical experience, during their period as interns, as clerks, and volunteer work? I'm seeing that our main audience is young lawyers between the age of 0 to 5 years. What advice can you give them on gaining practical experience?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm
Thank you
glad
very
to be here. So sorry, I apologize for joining late. I actually had another program and they were running late. So I rushed in and I've been struggling with my contacts and everything. But I appreciate the webinar, our chief host, and Hugo Agala, and my colleagues who are speakers, and the attendees. I appreciate each and every one of you, the moderators. Thank you for the privilege, the opportunity to share in this discussion. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yes, we
okay,
can hear
that's
you.
fine. Okay, for our younger colleagues, I am in the academia, but before then, I had been in practice for maybe about 3 years. And that period, I was in practice. For those of them who actually would want to continue with litigation, legal practice, the whole thing about going to court and everything, what I would say is, first of all, you make up your mind that that is where you want to be. And if that is where you want to be, take steps to learn all you need to do to excel in that aspect of the law. I recall that as a young lawyer in the office of Wogu Bonds then, I had the going to court, I'll go, did them. I had a note of all I needed to do cases. So in the law, we are coming into practice. To structure like, and you note it and you keep practicing it. When you practice something, there's this common adage that practice makes perfect. So you keep practicing it, and before you know it, you don't even need to be looking at your book to know what to do in a particular situation. Now, furthermore, it's only a person who will not tell herself the truth that would run into a brick wall. Many times, persons like me, I used to be very shy. Now, for a lawyer who is shy, naturally you are shy, you tend to hide behind other persons and you don't really want, but you see yourself now as a lawyer. How do you fight that shyness? How do you fight that feeling of maybe I'll get it wrong or this? Just tell yourself that nobody knows it all. People started somewhere. Along the line, you learn. And nobody is so perfect. It's just a matter of being disciplined, a matter of deciding that, look, I'm going to do this, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to accomplish this. In fact, I see this person doing this. I've seen this lawyer. I like this lawyer. And that brings us to the idea of mentorship. There are certain persons that exhibit characters and characteristics that we like, that we would want to emulate. In fact, we want to be a lawyer like this person. So what do? Reach to that person. Or reach out to friends around that person. Assuming the person is so big that you cannot approach. You start to learn one thing or the other from that person. And this issue of shyness, not being coherent with people is something you can intentionally deal with. What do I mean intentionally dealing with it? There are programs you can hook yourself up to out of advocacy. You practice it. You can take an issue, talk about it, and watch yourself repeat it. Even call friends. I recall that when we were in school, we used to have a discussion group. We could, we're going to be lawyers. This is how we're going to be practicing, how we're going to be practicing our trade in court. So you come out and you present your case. So you can have friends that you can do that with. Before you know it, the shyness is gone. But if you know that you are a shy person, and instead of fighting the shyness, you hide behind others. If they bring briefs in the court, you find a way to evade and dodge that issue. You will remain at that spot. My advice to such persons, especially the younger lawyers, is if you know you have that trait of wanting to avoid being in the limelight, wanting to avoid being in the spotlight, push yourself to the spotlight. Push yourself to those persons who have the audacity, who are ready. And before you know it will rub off you. You will lose that shyness. You will gain confidence. So that is on the practice. Personally, talking about a career, like the Honorable Justice said, you must make up your mind about what you want to do with your life, especially as a woman, because we know that we are faced with so many challenges, home front, and all that. So you make up, do you want to practice? Yeah, if the answer is yes, I need practice. To join a chambers, which you join? Those are questions to answer yourself. And once you join, be present in everything, the chambers meetings, all the assignments that they give to you, you should be willing, punctual. Not that you're supposed to be in the office time, you are coming about 2 hours late, like I came today into this program. Forgive me. Anyway, for me, I realized I had a flair for teaching. I actually trained as a teacher for the secondary school before I read law. Now, maybe that is what pushed me, into academics. I don't know. I actually wanted to try practicing too. So initially, I saw myself practicing. I saw myself wanting to be a teacher. And then one day I said, look, this thing can't continue. Running from one court to the other, running to file this matter. This thing is tasking. So I took a stop. I took stock of what I wanted to do with my life. And I told myself that because of this, because of family, because of this, because of that, this is where I want to be. This is what I want my life to look like. So what would best fit my life? I told myself that I think I should go into academics. So what did I do? I took the first step. So when you take a decision, first of all, you make that decision. Then you plan towards that decision. So what was the first thing I did? I approached persons. I would want to go into the university system. I have a degree. I had a first degree. I have another degree in law now. I would want to lecture in the Faculty of Law. And I got myself appointed as a graduate assistant, the beginning of the beginnings, as a graduate assistant. And when I got there, oh, this one is a new wig, you know, new everything and all that. Teach this course, follow this professor to the class, do these tutorials. I was willing and available. So for a new person who wants to build a career in academics, you must be available, you must be willing. You should not be difficult to reach because you'll be dealing with students. You should be accessible, you should be approachable. You should be very patient. If you are not patient, you will learn it because students can come with all sorts of issues and they would expect you to give them attention. So if that is your leaning, I would advise you, in the first degree in law, you take a master's. For you to grow to the pinnacle of the career in the university, you can't do it with just an LLB. If peradventure, during the first degree, you were not very serious, and then you made some mistakes, and you came out with a third class or a pass, it's not the end of the world. At all. It's not the end of the world. You just take it that, okay, this is a challenge, I must surmount it. How do you surmount it? The university is open. Admissions are open. Apply to remedy that error. You can do that by doing a PGD. Now, for my university, if you have a third class in law, thank you for the PGD. If you have a past degree and you desire to have a career in academics, we take you for PGD if you have last core experience. So once you're able to 1-year program, you remedy that. You cannot do a master's. And from a master, goes to a PhD before you are there. And you are. So I grew from the ranks from lecturer 1 to senior lecturer, associate professor, that is reader in my study to being a professor. It's a long walk that has been very rewarding. It's a long walk that it was challenging, trying to juggle things together. But the fact remains that many women have done this thing and done them very well. In telling yourself that you take steps to achieve same. So what are those steps? Let your vision be very clear. What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with your time? Once you make up your mind on that, how do you achieve it? Who do I meet to assist me achieve this? What are the things I need to cut off? Because you need to cut off some things. Maybe some associations, some friends who may be discouraging you. That career, don't go there. You know, if you go there, this one, that one, will you be able to do this? There may be voices like that. But there are so many other voices that will tell you, no, let's go. We are going to achieve it. This person did it, we can do it. But in doing that, please, I want to advise that in making a career for yourself, don't put yourself in a position as if you're competing with anybody. You are not. There's no need. You are not competing with anybody. If you're competing with anybody at all, you are competing with the issue of success, not because you're comparing yourself to the other person. Because if you start to do that, you will start to cut corners. Areas that you have difficulty, you may cut corners and all that, and then put yourself in a bad light. Apart from that, you can achieve anything you set your mind to achieve. Then in trying to achieve success in your career, give yourself tasks that you can do, not the ones that you cannot do. It's not because somebody wants to do a program in okay, now in Nigeria, blue economy is the new thing. You know, marine it used to be oil and gas. Everyone is going there. But you know that as a student, you had interest in this area of law, maybe in contract, maybe in land law. But because people are not going there, they say it's dry, then you follow them to oil and gas. Meanwhile, you know that oil and gas is not your main interest. You will not do well there. You will not do well. You will just be struggling. So look for that area that you have a flair for, you have interest in, you enjoy reading, you enjoy doing research. Go that way. If it is for academics, if it is for practice, the same thing. The same thing is that thing that you have an initial interest in that you are likely to succeed in. It does not mean you cannot learn a new thing. You can learn a new thing. You can learn so many things. In fact, I for one, I believe that God bless women wonderfully. We can multitask anytime. You can do this one, do that one, and join all of them. Doing this and doing that, don't derail. Don't derail from your focus. Don't carry too many things that you cannot handle. Where you run into difficulties, friends or seniors or mentors, you can always go back to. Please, how is this one done? Problems that as nice, I'll just show that if you don't know it, it's when you ask, you will know. So let us change our attitude. Let's change our attitude. Anything you don't know, be humble enough to say, please, can you help me in this area? I don't really understand this. I don't know how to go about this. That is the only way you can excel. But if you remain boxed in, become an island unto yourself, asking nobody anything, not wanting to show that you don't know it, you will not know it. That thing you don't know, you're not willing to learn, you will not even know it. So my advice to our younger colleagues is that, look, you've just graduated, the world is at your feet. You can be anything you want to be, so long as you are determined, as long as you are what is required option or that career you have chosen for yourself. And this platform, I think, is a wonderful one because you can always platform. If you're confused about anything, you can ask. Yes, please. I've overshot my time. Hello. Forgive this teacher. Please. Sorry. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. I mean, that was an amazing session. Thank you so much for all the nuggets you dropped. I mean, I am interested, I'm happy with you mentioning the issue of being bold and, and overcoming shyness. A lot of people, a lot of young lawyers are being, laid back just because of fear. And I mean, thank you so much for delving into that aspect and letting us know that we ourselves, we can do it once we make a decision. Thank you so much, erudite Prof. We're grateful. So moving on, I have Mrs. Bola Anima Shaum, who is also a seasoned legal practitioner. Can you hear me, ma?
I can hear you very well.
You're most welcome, ma. So I'm also throwing the same question to you. I mean, as a seasoned practitioner of law with expertise in various fields, what can you say to young lawyers on, gaining practical experience through internship, clerkship, and volunteer work?
Thank you. It's nice to be here. When I was told about this, I thought I'll not be able, but that's part of the things. When you have a challenge, you take the challenge. You don't give excuses for your challenge. I want to say good afternoon to Mrs. Okorocha, our chief host, Ngo Agala, and our moderator, Rahila, and also the previous speakers, Honorable Justice and our prof. Just like our prof, I'm coming from a background, I'm a teacher and also a lawyer. When I fill any form, I'll say, when I fill the form, I say I'm an education, a legal educationist. I came into the profession, like you have rightly mentioned. I have my first degree in my master's in public administration before I went back to law. Actually, I was in my cultivar. If I can, I'm an encourager. I try to encourage people. Like one of the speakers said, age is just a number. Once there is a will, God will make a will. Ask yourself, because to build a successful legal career, it involves hard work, dedication, and strategic planning. Once there is a will, God will make a way. If you are not sure where you want to go, you won't even know where to start. Or if you start somewhere, so the first thing you need to ask yourself, am I in the right profession? Am I interested in being a lawyer? For some years, I ran away from being a lawyer. I have a lot of my friends who went to the legal profession. And the time I went to school, I had the opportunity of changing my course. But law was the least, because I like social life, and those people that were reading law at that time, they were always in the library. And they hardly attend parties like me. So my group of friends, we like partying and going out. And we don't want, thank God for new technology, because by the time I went back to read law, it was not as tedious and stressful as it was at that time. So congratulations to the young lawyers. But like I said, this involves hard work, dedication, and strategic planning. You need to have some goals. In the next 5 years, where do you want to find yourself? That's the first thing you have to, because those who fail to plan to fail. If you are really interested in this profession, you have to set your measurable goals so that in the next 5 years, once you know where you are going, everything that you need to do to get to where you are going, you will try and do them. And some of the things that you need to do is to be up to date with the technology. Sometimes for old lawyers, even when they ask them to work on the system, they cannot do that. But I believe that since I'm speaking to young lawyers, that should not be an issue to you because of all this Gen Z and whatever you are. So you have this advantage of the technology, the new trend. So you need to be versed in that. Then you need to specialize in a specific area of law. You see that these days, having a first degree in law is not enough. So you see a lot of people going back to go to school to read their masters in law. I'm also having the ambition to go back to school. I want to go back to school, do my masters in law. And also, you can't stop learning, because with law, you can't grow old in law. Law is a profession that people don't retire from. You see people as old as 80, 90 years still practicing law. So young lawyers, what do you need to do to have a successful legal career? I've had time to counsel some. There was a particular lawyer we met at a function, and in the course of asking him what he was doing, he said he's running an office, doing photocopying. I said, how can you, a lawyer, you went to school to read law? He said, because all these seniors, there is no way, they don't employ young lawyers, and there is nothing to do, there's no way you can come out fresh and start practicing law. So I now advised him based on what somebody advised me. I said, why don't you get an office? For those of you who may be thinking that, how can we get an office? Where is the money, this and that? There are other ways. There are some people that have offices. We are talking about mentorship, as our previous speakers have spoken to us. Network. Go and share office with other people. And from there, you get to your own office. But this particular lawyer was able to get money. He got an office. And before he knew it, clients were coming. And he kept on, you need to keep on learning. So they are bringing matters to him. And because he was not, he did not have a particular area of practice, because of the clients, you know, there are some areas that when you are practicing in that area, maybe most of the law brief you get is on chieftaincy title or land or commercial law or banking. So it depends on where you are practicing, wherever you are, may go on to determine the area of law that may specialize in. So with that, because if you go to read land law or whatever, and you're now practicing in a place like VI, you know, it's a different ballgame. But if you are in an area like Ikorodu, Ogba, you know, those places where people are always fighting on chieftaincy title, land law, so you need to plan, where do you want to have your practice? Is it in Lagos? Is it outside Lagos? So that can guide you on the area of practice you want to go into. Networking is also very important. Like once you come out of law school, you don't know where to go to, or maybe some of you are still struggling, you don't even know where to start. I always recommend that people should enroll or join NBA, wherever you are. A young lawyer came to me and told me that she wants me to be a mentor. She doesn't know where to start. The first thing I did for her, I asked her to meet me at NBA Ikeja. When we got there, I introduced her to some young lawyers and told them, I handed her over to them and said, please, help me guide this lady. And one of the things I also advised her is that she should join FIDA, AULA, and Women Forum. That when you join an association like that, you meet with lawyers. You meet with young lawyers like yourself, older ones. When I wanted to join the MBA, then we were living at Ikorodu. I went for the meeting. I was scouting for which MBA to belong to. But when I got to Lagos Highland, I was impressed. And somebody advised me that I will not be known, because that is where you have so many SAN, senior lawyers, that I may be invisible. But I told the person that I like a place where people are above me, so that I know that I have a long way to go and I can always have role models. So you need to network, you need to join association, legal association, to meet with people who can mentor you and guide you. And also, because we are women, we have some challenges, especially when you have your children growing up. It may not be easy for you to start or work as a litigant, you know, going to court. You know, if your husband is not a lawyer and you wake up, you have small children to be taken to school, and you need a husband that will expect you to make food, breakfast and something, it may not be easy. And that's why a lot of lawyers, they have problems keeping their homes. But how do you balance this? It's part of the planning, that if you have a husband that is very understanding or is also a lawyer, you may not have much problems. But if your husband is the other one, the traditional one that expects that the wife must cook, serve the food, even watch him while he's taking his breakfast, how do you want to cope with that when you have a matter to attend to in the court? So these are the things that involve a lot of planning. You need to know who you are. what are the challenges that you may face before you can just, otherwise, if you just start going to court, you may discover that you may not be able to do your best there. So you need to do all this planning. And also, continuous learning. Thank God that even what we are doing now is part of continuous learning. The NBA, so many organizations, I'm a certified mediator because during the time I was in law school, I participated in the moot trial and I was the registrar. When everybody had left, I had to wait with the judge that was writing there and I asked him. He said sometimes you write judgment till late in the night or early in the morning, 4 a.m. And he had to deliver the judgments by 9 a.m. the following day. I just thought that, no, this is not my kind of life. I cannot do that. This is a man. As a woman, how can I do or cope with such challenge? So that one made me to know that I can't easily go into litigation. And when I had the opportunity to do mediation, I jumped into it. And that one, what drove me to be a mediator and ODR, CEDAW certified mediator. And also the opportunity during the COVID, I also had the opportunity of doing ODR. So I work with Lagos State Multi-Law Court House. I can do my mediation online. I go physical to do it. But that does not stop me from practicing other aspects. In fact, I love to do a lot of family law. And that is, most of the people run away from family law. They say, it is emotional and this and that. But I thank God, Lagos State Multi-Law Court House gave me the opportunity. And most matters on family law, I've always been able to settle. But that does not stop me from practicing other aspects. Where I have a particular brief, which I cannot handle, and that's what about networking. I call my colleagues, advise me on it, and sometimes I ask some of them. I have 1 or 2 young lawyers working with me, at least there is always one. So we rub minds together and I encourage people. I was the chairman of Human Rights Committee during my tenure as vice chairman, NBA Lagos branch. And I have members of the committee. There was this particular guy. He joined the committee, but he was not working. So at one time, I removed some of them that are not active. We had to visit prison. We interviewed inmates, and we took up some matters. And I called them. I said, you can't be a member of a committee and not be active just because you want to say I'm a member of so committee. And what he told me then was that in the law firm where he works, he was not given the opportunity to go to court. So what I did was to attach him to one of the members who is very good at litigation. I can tell you today that this guy is very good with litigation. He's a human rights activist. At one time, I introduced him to Femi Falana, SAN, and I can tell you that this guy, who happens to be my campaign manager now, I call him small but mighty. But because he was given that opportunity, and that is why he could do well in it, he had the opportunity. So, like one of the speakers said, you can't just sit down and not do anything and be complaining. You need to go out. You need to interact. You need to study. You need, what do they call research? Somebody has searched into that particular thing and you have to do a research. So we have a lot of young lawyers who are writing books, legal opinions, so many things. So don't just sit down as a lawyer and feel that gone are those days. There is no work for lawyers. There are quite a lot of work. Even if you have all the certificates, you have your masters. If you are not doing anything with it, it will just be there. It will just be piling up certificates. So you need to network. You need to join associations like Women Forum. You need to be a member of, an active member of NBA, FIDA, AULA, And anytime there's opportunity to go for workshop, conferences, please don't say there is no money. Sometimes some of these seminars and workshops are hybrid, just like what we are having now. So you always have an opportunity. And if you have mentors, if you meet with people, I'm sure there will always be somebody to help. Like one of the things I do is that when I joined the MBA, I discovered that some of these young lawyers, they come because some of them are looking for a job. That's why they join MBA. And they cannot even afford to pay the practicing fee. So I just thought about it because I've met one or two of them, and I decided to set up a program that every year I'll be sponsoring 20 young lawyers. I'll pay their practicing fee and I pay their branch dues. And I encourage other senior members to do same. I remember sometimes when I go and say, I was one of the beneficiary of your mentorship, of what you did, or beneficiary of practicing fee that you pay for young lawyers. So, but if they are not members of MBA, they will not have that opportunity. So opportunities abound. All we need is just to grab the opportunity. Then you need to improve your communication skills. Just like as a teacher, I say I belong to a talking profession. I'm a teacher and I'm also a lawyer. So both are like my sister. I was very shy, but that's stage fright was broken down. The first day I went for my teaching practice, I rushed through the lecture that day, and my supervisor said I should calm down. But he didn't know that I couldn't face audience. But with time, it's only once. Once you break that ice, once you discover that you want to speak, even if they call you anytime to come and present a speech, it's only just like driving. You'll be afraid. Some people, they are even afraid to drive up till now. But once you break that fear, once you see that all that fear will disappear. So I want to encourage the young lawyers here that whatever may be keeping you away from having a successful career, just try it once. Once you do that, you'll be able to do more. And then, like I said, that once you have your plan, in the next 5 years, where do you want to be? So there is a need for continuous evaluation. You don't have to wait for that 5 years. In 2 years, which progress have you made? And that is what I want you to examine now and ask yourself. Young lawyers' age is from court to bar 1 to 7 years. So what level are you? If you have spent 3 years at the bar and still cannot find your level, you need to reevaluate. Are you in the wrong profession? Is there anything that is going wrong? So that you don't wait until that 5 years or 7 years before you now give up. Then improve your communication skills. Some people, they are afraid to speak because they don't know whether they make mistakes. People will laugh at them. You know, how do you do that? Give yourself opportunity to talk to people. Don't be shy. Talk to people. Come out of that, your shyness, and be able to make your contribution. We have Young Lawyers Forum in every branch. Join the Young Lawyers Forum, but you have to be visible. Even when you attend MBA meeting, make contribution, raise up your hands. Don't just go there and sit at the back. Let your voice be heard. So when you are even with your younger ones, the Young Lawyers Forum, be visible. I'm not comfortable with just staying alone. And that's why I got myself to the level I was. Like I told you, I was called to bar at a later age. But anywhere I go to, I always make sure that I make myself visible. I look for opportunities and I seize the opportunity. Opportunities are always there. They are bound. All you need is to look for that opportunity. Plan. What do you want to be in the next 5 years? Where do you want to find yourself? When I went back to read law, I'm already established, like people will say, because I did education for my first degree. I was running a school. So, and people are wondering, why are you going back to school? But for somebody like me, learning never ends. I was eager to go back to the classroom. I was a lecturer at Federal College of Education for 10 years. So there is this urge to learn because I want to be mentally alert. So, and Lord, because I've done my master's in public administration, and most of the courses that we did had to do with MBA, personnel management. So there was no need to go back to school and network, meet with people. So I went back to law and I was asking myself, once I'm already established, what do I want to do with the profession? And I thought of politics, because we have a lot of lawmakers who are not lawyers. They will make law for us, and then we will be criticizing, we'll be fighting them. Why can't we be part of that lawmaking machinery? And I just thought that, I remember when they were asking us, what do you want to do with this? I said politics. And see the way I started my politics. When I joined the MBA, I started contesting for election. The first election I contested for was to be Assistant Welfare Secretary. I lost because I was new in the branch. I was not discouraged. Another opportunity came. I vied for another post. This time a higher one, which was the vice chairman. Fortunately for me, I was returned unopposed and I became the vice chairman of MBA Lagos branch. Then I came up, ambition now. So I decided to vie for another post to become the chairman of the branch. I lost, but I was not discouraged. At least even with that contesting alone, it had made my name to be a household name. So don't be afraid that if you contest election, you may lose, and because of that, you are discouraged. Please don't be discouraged. Every opportunity that you have, seize the opportunity. And that is the opportunity I'm seizing now, that I'm vying for the post.
Thank you, Ma. Seems your network is a bit unstable.
I'm now in the position of second vice president at the national. So I solicit for your support by voting for me to become the second national vice president. Thank you very much. So I'll be waiting for questions. If I have not addressed a particular area, I'm ready.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma. And I personally wish you the very best of luck during the elections. One of the most beautiful things for me about this session is just how inspiring it has been. It just goes to show us women that anything is possible as long as you put your mind to it. So in rounding up the session, please, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to have them in the chat box so that I'll just ask our honorable speakers these questions. But for now, I would like our speakers to please, and I will start with Mrs. Bolatumi Animation because she's just spoken. So our speakers have said a lot, but what I would like them to do at this point is to just give us 3 non-negotiables, just to summarize each of the valuable things that they've said in 3 valuable points, 3 things that, are essential for building a solid and successful legal career. And so, Ma, if you'd be gracious enough to give us those 3 tips, for the sake of time, I will limit them to just 3 so that we can always remember those key points. Thank you.
Okay, the first thing is that you plan. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? Because that will direct you, will help your direction so that you can know where to. Then the second one is that networking. You build relationship with people, with colleagues, with mentors, with industry leaders. Don't just stay alone. Like I said, there are opportunities, but you can't have the opportunities while you are keeping to yourself. And the last but not the least is that you should develop yourself, your communication skill. Go to acquire more education. Anytime there is opportunity, join organization, legal organization, like the women forum that we are in now, and meet with your colleagues, networking, plan, network, and develop yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I don't know if my Lord is still with us.
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. And I have to say, I'm really grateful that you've all stuck around to this point because I know that you're all very, very busy women. So if you can just give us your own 3 non-negotiables on building a successful legal career. Thank you.
Difficult to compress everything we have said here in 3 nuggets or 3 bullet points, but I'm going to struggle. The first thing would be to set your goals and prioritize. You need to be, sorry, my network is unstable. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me, Somto?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can, Ma.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Set your goals and prioritize. Okay, then the second will be make decisions. I have stated earlier about types of decisions, comfortable and discomforting ones. In the end, whether excellent or not, your colleagues and personal environment. That be
It seems my Lord's signal is unstable. Okay. I'll just move on to Professor Grace. If she's still
Thank
with
you.
us.
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Yes, Ma, we
Hello?
can hear you.
Can you
Yes,
hear
Ma,
me?
we can hear you. Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, the 3 quick takeaways, like the Honorable Justice said,
Yes.
set your goals, prioritize your goals, and for me, set achievable milestones and plans of accomplishing same. And 3, good networking and a feedback mechanism. Check what you have done, how far you have achieved your goals, where you went wrong, and determine to retrace your steps. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. So at this point, I'm opening the floor for questions. If there are any questions that you have for our erudite speakers, please put them in the chat box. Or raise your hand, anyone. Okay. Is it safe to assume that we've all understood everything that the speakers have said and we kind of have a clear path onto how to build a strong legal career? I would say I do.
I do too.
I'd say I do. Okay. Well, in the absence of questions, I'll just call on Ms. Ugochi to give us a closing remark. And thank you once again to everyone for sticking around to this point. And thank you, Ms. Ugochi, for this opportunity. I really had an amazing time. Thank you.
You're welcome, Somto.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, every member of the forum. Thank you, particularly our chairperson, for this huge opportunity. And thank you for the push in the right direction always. We remain grateful to you. Thank you to my team as well, the membership committee, EXCO, and members. And then I also want to thank my Lord Justice Chinwe Nsuri, my good friend and sister. Thank you for always keeping up. Thank you for always being there for me. I really, really appreciate this one. It's an excellent one. It was excellently delivered. Thank you so much. And of course, my mommy and my lecturer, Professor Akoloku, thank you for being there during the years of growing up. And of course, when I called on you to join the mentoring on the Women's Forum, you happily said yes. Even when your daughter was called to bar, you introduced her to us to join the mentoring team. I really appreciate you for that. You've been so supportive. And of course, Mrs. Bolatumi and Mashon, I remember about 2 years ago, we came to you for support for one of our programs, and you were very, very magnanimous. We really appreciate you, and we wish you success in your political moves to become our second vice president, NBA National. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for staying on. Thank you for participating. I've been seeing the messages in the chat box. It means that we all understand and we appreciate the class. This is just one of the webinars we're going to be having, like I said earlier. So please keep up, keep your phone lines open as well. And then those who are not yet members of the forum, I've left my phone number on the chat box. You can send me a message and I'll guide you through the process of becoming a member of the forum. It pays just like we've been.
It's quite insightful.
Yes, it pays to be a member of the Women's Forum and, of course, a financial member as well. So we look forward to having you again on our series. We're going to be having another one next week. And so to everyone else whom I may not have mentioned, I want to say thank you. Thank you, everyone. I wish you all a wonderful evening and a successful career. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, I'm free of this one.